want to read you something, I paragraphed out of this book, but it deals with what everybody thinks. Do you need a Bible?
No, I got a Bible, I need to take
Okay, well, you'll need to write, yeah, because you'll need to write it in your books or whatever. This little paragraph is a statement that that everybody just about that's alive on the earth deals with this, because it has been a what can I say? It's just been a thought process for a couple of thousand years, and it's hard not to think that, even though you probably don't believe it, or you've been delivered from the thought of believing that. It still lingers in everybody's heart. I'm not saying that's good, bad, right, or wrong. So there's no judgment at all on my part for this ideology. Okay, and I just read this paragraph that helps to set that idea. The creation legend, in its weird falsifications, has stained the mind of humanity for 2,000 years with the taint of half insane turpitude that blackens mentally the conception of every child of the race. For deep in the background of every human consciousness, there still lingers this dark psychological cloud whose miasmatic moisture was generated by the mental poisoning of every generation in its childhood. That every child born of the natural method of sexual union is conceived in sin. You could say, wow.
Yeah.
That's a powerful, powerful paragraph or sentence, either way you want to look at it. And it's hard not to think that, because, and it doesn't matter if you're a Christian, because this has been such a powerful ideology, even though it's false, there's no truth whatsoever in it. No one is conceived in sin. But we all believe we were. And so we start out like that with a mental, psychological tainting, and hardly ever can get out of it and past it. No matter who we are, where we're at, we still have to deal with that. And that stains our life, and we don't realize it, but it's something that's hard to get past that. And I know that. And so when I'm sharing things, and especially when I'm going to use this book of creation, i.e. the Bible, but I'm using it from a completely different perspective than that paragraph says. I'm not using it from the perspective that anybody has done anything wrong. Even though I do understand, and I do have enough foresight or whatever to know that people do wrong things. So how can you say nobody's done anything wrong?
It's the choice.
Many times, the things that we do that we say are wrong are actually, whether they're pitfalls in our journey, they're tremendous teaching tools, and we learn from them, and in that respect gain good out of that was bad. That happens to all of us. Have you not ever had a tragic in your life?
You know,
I mean, come on. If we all get honest, we did things that brought about tragic things, that brought about awakening and me facing real life. Happens to everybody. And so I can't say that the bad did not work out to be the good. And so that's difficult. And I realize that. So when I learned to view this book as a book that's about the anatomy of the physical body and how it's structured to do things, and it is. It's structured to make choices. It is. Does it every day? Hundreds of times every day. Does it unconsciously. And those choices are not good or evil, right or wrong. They're choices. They have results. They have things that they manifest. And if we can learn to extract from them the nourishment that they're offering that will help me instead of condemn me and beat me down. Have you ever had a bad thought that just wouldn't leave you, and that thing just kept on and it pulls you down deeper and deeper and deeper? Well, those are thoughts that are from basically the material or the water-based human aspect of my being. They're not from my higher spiritual self. And it's hard to transfer that power, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's hard to quit thinking that negative thought that's just on and on and on, and start thinking whatsoever things are pure, just, lovely, or have good report. It's hard to do that. That's something that's a discipline, and that's presented to every one of us for our very own choosing. So I want you to go with me to the book of Exodus, and we're going to look at this, well, quite a few things here. The book of Exodus, chapter 25. Food for thought this morning, and the power, I'm talking about the power of balance. And so what I'm trying to do, and what I want to do, is I want to help balance this good and evil, male and female, up and down, spirit, matter. You know, you just fill in the blank. Because they are meant to be balanced. They are meant to be merged. That is the marriage that man cannot pull us under. That's the marriage that man cannot separate or part, is that marriage right there. And that is a balance that every one of us are called to, are challenged by, and it's a lifelong process. It's a lifelong endeavor doing that. So that's what I'm calling the balance of power. So, Exodus chapter 25, it says, "And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them, according to all that I show you, after the pattern of the tabernacle."
Verse.
I'm sorry?
Verse.
Oh, I'm in verse 8. I just took right off and didn't tell you, did I? I thought y'all was with me. I'm sorry, Exodus 25, verse 8. "And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them, according to all that I show thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall you make it." Now that's the King James translation of it. And so let them actually let them make me a sanctuary, and that word sanctuary in Hebrew is migdash, and actually it just simply means a holy place. A migdash is a holy place. Let them make a holy place. And the way that it's read there is sort of like God's surrendering, said, okay, then let them go ahead and do that. And that's not at all how it really is saying this in the Hebrew. It's saying, okay, we're going to do this, and I will explain to you how we'll do it. That's basically how it says that in the Hebrew. I'm going to explain to you how you're going to do it. And if you look right there across the page to verse 40 of this same chapter, 28 verse 40, you'll notice that it says this. Verse 40, "Look that you make after the pattern which was shown you" where?
In the moment.
In the mountain.
Mount.
In the mountain. So where's the pattern at? It's shown you in the mountain. Now it wasn't showing you the mountain, because the word mountain right here is the Hebrew word her or I don't even know if I wrote that down. I don't think I did. But the word mountain is this. It's hay, rash. Okay, hay is a 5, and rash is a 200. The 5, and that word is her or her, H-A-R, har or H-U-R, har or her. And it's translated from mountain. But actually, there's a phenomenal aspect about this word in the Hebrew glyphs. The hay has to do with energy that's from the material matter side of us. And so it has within it this idea of water. And the symbol, I want to show you, the symbol for water is this. It's an upside down pyramid. That's the symbol of water. And the reason that it's that way is because water always seeks the lowest point. And you are made of 98% water. So you're basically a water vessel. And then the rash has a 200 value, and the symbol for the rash is the straight up pyramid. And so that is the symbol for fire. So here's what you have. You have fire, F-I-R-E, and you have water, W-A-T-E-R. And this is what he said. He said, I want you to meet me, and I want to show you in the mountain. And he's up here, and he's not looking at a mountain. He's actually looking at the stars. Where did God tell Abraham to look? Where did he tell him to look? Stars. Well, if he's looking to the stars, he's looking to astrology. Do you get that? Astrology. Astarology. And so astrology is the study of the stars. And so the Bible is a book about the study of the stars. Because the stars represents the fire, the source of God. Water represents materiality. And it's the marrying of those two, it's the merging of those two that creates you and me as the holy place where the source, we call it God, lives, moves, has its being. And so I know that's a difficult idea for most of us because we haven't really been taught to think that. We haven't been taught to look at the book, at this book called the Bible, as a picture book in place of it being a literal book. And what I mean when I say it's a picture book, it's a book of signs and symbols. And if you don't know how to look at the picture, in other words, the sign and the symbol, and extract what it means, you'll miss its meaning. Because you're trying to make it literal when there's nothing about it literal. When you're trying to say this story about this man and woman made a mistake and they conceived this child in sin and brought forth the creation, you look at it and our minds are so twisted off base from what the story is saying. Because the story is constantly about the merging of fire and water. And it's used that way. And it's used that way with this word man and woman. Man and woman. In Genesis chapter 2, the word man is the Hebrew word esh. It's the Hebrew word esh, which comes from the Hebrew word for fire. And that's the word for man. You thought it was Adam. Adam is used in Genesis 1. It refers to the physical, material body. Not just a man's body, but both body, man and woman. Yeah, let me borrow your water bottle.
It's not open. I have
You have it open? That's good, thank you. So, now I know that people haven't heard this necessarily, but we need to hear this. Genesis chapter 2 is about man, fire, and woman, water. This word man is ash. This word woman is eshah, which is the womb, the material place for the fire to go. And it's the merging of the two. It's the marrying of those two that man cannot pull asunder. Okay? So I want to kind of lay that out, let you think about it. There we go. I think I swallowed a gnat and it got hung in my throat. All right, now then, go back over with me to verse 8. Let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them according to all that I show you after the pattern of the tabernacle, the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall you make it. Hold your place right here, or hold your finger right there, and just flip over a few books to Exodus chapter 31. So actually, let me draw the astrological wheel, and you have to remember the astrological wheel is just a symbol that represents everything in space. So this, and I instead of drawing the horizon straight, I just kind of put a curvature on it. Just it's the horizon. It could be kind of straight. And if I put a mark down the middle of it, it kind of looks like a cross. It's the middle bars. I'm getting weak. But what I want you to do is I want you to see that this over here above the bar represents day, and this over here below the bar represents night. So you have day and night, or you have light and dark, right? Or you have spirit and matter. And all of that's in one circle. And so when you look at that, you see that day and night. We have it every day, don't we? You can also do it like this. You can put your bar across here and you can say, well, we have summer and winter. We can say we have hot and cold. We can say we have above and below. So all of these are pictures. Scriptures are filled with these pictures. And you use characters' names, they use places, there are all kinds of things that they use. So, Exodus chapter 31, verse 1 says, And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, See, I have called thy name Bezaleel, and actually this name, Bezaleel, means God-likeness, or in God's shadow. God-likeness, or in God's shadow. Have you ever heard that phrase? Have y'all ever heard that phrase? Genesis 1:26. God said, let us make man in our likeness and our shadow image. Same thing. So this guy's name is a symbol of that happening, that incident. So this guy is representing us. He's representing you and me. And notice what it says. It says, see, I have called him by name, Bezaleel. He is the son of who? Who is he the son of?
Her.
Uriah. See it? He said, Bezaleel, the son of Uriah. Right? Mm-hmm. Right? Everybody, you have to get it right. Now, who is he the son of? Everybody say Uriah.
Uriah.
Well, Uriah comes from the same word in Genesis. God said, let there be light. Same word. Uriah is or light. Same word. Okay? So, this Bezaleel, that's likeness and image. This is the picture. He comes from where? He comes from the light. And where does notice what it says? The light, son of Uriah, who is the son of who? Who is the son of her. And you know what her's name means? It means the power of creation. It means strength. It means freedom. So the power of creation comes from the light. Right? And you follow these patterns, and God said, now here's what's going to build this thing. I mean, this is a beautiful story if we can just let our heads get wrapped around it and get delivered from all that other stuff that we have been so tainted with. And then he's going to fill the thing with Judah, which is praise and glory. Amen? Right? So, life, I'm just going to read some things that I wrote in going. Life offers you and me the opportunity. And I'm trying to choose these words carefully. And I hope that they're correct. But trying to be careful as to how I choose these words. Life offers us many opportunities and times to make choices. Not right or wrong, but choices that will show me the way I am going. You might not be going the way you want to be going, but you're going that way anyhow. Because you think that's the way you want to be going. And until life offers you that choice and you've gone that way a little way, you realize that I'm not sure it's the way I want to be going. Now, is that a right or wrong choice? Is that good or bad? See, it's neither. And that's one of our great conundrums. They're not right or wrong, good, bad, evil, this, that. They're choices. And they offer us something. They're constantly offering us. They're offering us the ability to see what's there. And when you see what's there, you might say, I don't think that's the choice I want to make. And then you make another choice, don't you? Don't we do that constantly? And many times the choices get hung up. Now, here, the choices many times get hung up down here. And this down here could be, I could do it like this, because down here could be the lower pulling me, the heavier, the darkness pulling me, weighing me down. Instead of this choice right here, which is fire, pulling me up. Now, did you see what I did? Now, you know what that's called? That's the Star of David. That's the Star of David, right there. And if you notice, all you did is you married fire and water. You merged them together. And that's exactly what you come up with. Now, that's where the holy place, or the sanctuary, is at. Right there in the middle of that. And I want you to see this. Watch this as I do this with this astrological wheel. Look here, there's our little stick man right in the middle of that thing. And right in the middle of this picture, this astrological wheel, this symbol of fire and water, right in the middle of this picture is this area right here. And what is that area called? The heart. It's in your heart where all of the things that whether you are working to try to see if that's a good choice or a bad choice, the right choice or the wrong choice, it's in your heart. It's that place in your heart. And where is your heart? It says, let them make me a sanctuary. Your heart is the holy place. That's what the sanctuary is. It's a meshkah. It's the holy place. The heart is that holy place. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong. It's just that place where the pattern that was shown you in the mountain is being worked out. And this is what he saw. I mean, this and a whole plethora of other things that he saw when he was looking in this place and trying to see what was happening. So go back to 25, Exodus 25 and verse 17. And he said, thou shalt make a mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And thou shalt make 2 cherubims. Everybody say cherubims. Cherubim. That's the word kerub. Now I want you to see this. How can I draw a picture of this? These cherubims, which they're over the box, and their wings go out over the box to where they just about touch each other. Right? And so they're on the top of the box, and they are referring to your right and left hemispheres of your brain. They're referring to the male and the female aspect of your being. They're referring to the fire and water. They're referring to those two. They're referring to good and evil. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They are referring to both of those. Let it make 2 of them, not just one of them. We're going to do away with one of them. We're going to do away with the evil, which is the left side, or the feminine side. We're going to do away with that. No, we're not. God never intended you to do that. But we have been working desperately for years and years. We've got to get rid of the evil of the left side, the feminine side. We suppressed women. We did this. We did that. We tried to put them, make slaves out of them, or just objects or whatever. And that's not what at all God wanted us to do. God wanted us to merge them, marry them, let the two become one. The two are bound and determined to become one. So when we see the word cherubim and you have a picture and all you see is some kind of an angelic being and you think that angelic being is something out there, not knowing the picture is referring to the brain or the inside of your being. Not knowing that you are. The word karu means imaginary thoughts. Have you ever had any of them? Can your imaginary thoughts be like water and pull you down? No, mine can. Or can your imaginary thoughts be like fire and pull you up? Yes. And all of they, what are they doing? They're both showing you their options. They're showing you, here's what you have. Here's what you can do. You can choose the water thought. It would be fun for a while. It might. I mean, it might not. It may pull you deep. I don't know. But you can do that. Or you can choose the other thought that pull you up. That's what a karu, that's what a cherubim is. It's the ability to think. And everybody has the ability to think. You can think whatever you want to think, and you do. It's not right or wrong. It's just your ability. It's not, day is not right, and night is wrong. Night is not right, and day wrong. Are they? No, they represent a place in time. That's all they are. And they're neither right or wrong. They're just day and night. They're up and down, left and right, good and evil. And getting to a place to where we can realize that we have these abilities to make these choices. And oh, that puts us in a whole different place. And when we can do that, we can begin to go to the holy place, the heart. We go in there, and it's in there. Do you ever go to your heart and take your trouble with you? Yes. Do you take your darkness in there with you? Yes. Absolutely. That's what you're supposed to do. Why? Because the more you take it in there and the more the light shines on it, the more you realize, you know, it's nearly not that dark. It's just a choice. It's just something that I can do or not do. And I can walk this way or not walk this way, because it's just a choice. It's something that I have, that I can make that choice to be. All right. So I want you to, well, let's just read on. Let me read the rest of this. Verse 19, and make one cherubim on one end and the other on the other end of the mercy seat shall you make it. You notice that? Right, left. Tree of the knowledge of right, left. Knowledge of good and evil. Make one on one end, one on the other end, on one side. Verse 21, and thou shalt put the mercy seat above the ark. In the ark you shall put the testimony that I have given you, and there will I meet with you, and I will commune with you. I will commune with you from above the mercy seat. From where? Can everybody say between? Between the two. So where's God going to meet with you? Right here in the holy place, the heart. Between the two, between the upper and the lower, between the right and the left, between that you call good and evil, that's where God will meet with you at. And that's where you can get your counsel. That's the best place to get your counsel when you're going in a mode of what we call prayer. And verse 21 says, put the mercy seat above the ark should put the testimony that I give you, and there I will meet with you. And I will commune with you from above the mercy seat between the two cherubims which are upon the ark of the testimony, and all things which I will give thee in the commandment unto the children of Israel. Now, the cherubims, I want you to go with me to the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel. Just go with me to Ezekiel chapter 1. Now, I know this probably, I guess, will open up a pretty good sized can of worms. And I know that it will, and that's okay that it does. I want to put these two symbols right here. The first, the astrological wheel is divided into 12 segments, just like the children of Israel are divided into 12 tribes, just like the sons of Jacob are divided into 12 sons, just like the disciples of Jesus are divided into 12 disciples. just like the foundation stones in the book of Revelation of the temple here, foundation stones were divided into 12 foundation stones, just like the breastplate of the high priest is divided into, you got the idea? 12 is very predominant. And so the first section, this 12, is always divided into 30 degrees in each section. And this first section, the picture of it, or the symbol of it, is that. That's what the symbol looks like. The symbol looks like the horns of a ram. And then this section over here, divided into 30 degrees, this section right here, I'm going to make these too dark because I'm trying to pull on these two right here. This section right here, the symbol of it is or the scales of justice. That's the symbol for Libra, which is the picture of the pelvic bone. And so here is a picture of the head, the picture of the right and left. Now I want you to notice the two, the right and left hemispheres of the brain, the pelvic bone, the two, the right pelvic and the left pelvic, which both legs come. And so you have this, if this stick man, right here is the stick man, and he's got arms and he's got legs, and he's got a right and a left that goes all the way down right here, all the way from the top of his head to his sexual organ and his 2 feet coming out from that. He has a right and a left side, doesn't he? And the matter of a fact is, his whole working life is to balance both those lefts and right, not to kill one side. If you just got rid of your left side, could you be very mobile? Cut your left arm off, your left leg off, say. Just hop yourself on to town. You could be a hop-along Cassidy for sure, couldn't you? Be hard to keep you balanced, wouldn't it? Well, what requires balance? Got to have 2 sides. So you have to have good and evil. They're not right, they're not wrong. One of them's not going to keep you in hell. It's going to send you to hell and keep you there. No, it's working to balance you. And these cherubims, if you can get your mind freed from the idea that these are angels that have wings like an eagle and they're flying around and they're this, that, and the other, if you can get your mind on the fact it's referring to the right and left hemisphere of your brain. So your 2 sides of your brain are the wings of that eagle, or that cherubim, or that bird, or whatever you would like to call it, okay? If you can do that. So when we talk about the cherubim now, Ezekiel gives a really good picture of this. And he incorporates a lot of the other symbols, pictures, stories in the Bible. Not talking about literal stuff, it's talking about pictures. And so, Ezekiel chapter 1. By the way, let me tell you this about the book of Ezekiel. I did an exegesis on this book, goodness, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And the theme of this book, Ezekiel, is not the theme that most people think it is. Most people want to take Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, and the book of Revelation and make them refer to this terminology that religion gave us called the last days, when the world is going to go to hell in a handbasket. And God's pretty much going to let it do that. And then finally, there'll be a great battle and a great war, and then God's just going to burn the whole thing up, because He couldn't get rid of everything with water, so He said, this time I'm going to get rid of everything with fire. I just burn the whole thing up. Hello? That's what most people think. And so when they read these books, that's what the book of Ezekiel is about, you and me. As a matter of fact, the theme in the book of Ezekiel, more than any other book in the Bible, is the Son of Man. The word man is mentioned close to 200 times in this one book. 200 times in this one book. That's the theme of this book. It's about you and me. And it uses these pictures, and these pictures are basically astrological. And if we don't know how to look at the astrological picture and extract from it what it's saying, we will look at the picture and think it's real, and we will come up with some of the most bizarre stuff we've come up with for the last 2,000 years in religion, which is ridiculous. Nevertheless, let's look at this picture. Ezekiel chapter 1 and verse 5. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. Now, 4 living creatures. Now, when you look, I've got this thing so messed up right here. Let me draw it again. Right here. And I'm going to make my lines kind of straight, but it's the same thing. This is the same thing. It's that. And so it says he looks at this, and he saw 4 living creatures. What he saw was an ox. Y'all know that that's the sign of Taurus. Do you not? Huh? Yep. And he saw a lion. Right? He saw an ox. He saw a lion. And what else did he saw? He saw an eagle. Right? That's the sign of Scorpio. There is a lot of mythology about Scorpio. It used to be called the eagle. And in some places it was called the phoenix, and in some places it was called Scorpio. And the reason it was, behind the mythology, behind the picture and the stories of it, is tremendous truth if you can ever extract. It shows you how to get the good and the evil. And notice where this eagle is at. It's on the lower. It's in the dark side. And it's in that dark side where the eagle can see. It has these uncanny abilities. Or where the scorpion can strike and kill it. So this is a tremendous, well, I'll show you something else about it. And then it has another character, and it's called man. All right, now let's read this here in the book of Ezekiel. We'll see these. He said in verse 6, and everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings, and their feet were straight. And I have heard preachers, and especially Dake. I studied a lot under Dake. You know, he was my mentor for a lot of years. I studied under him, and this always so confused me. And Dake, even in the back of his Bible, he draws pictures of these things. And you want to get confused? you go to the back of your Dake Bible and you start looking at these characters and the wheel within the wheel, and they're going and they're turning and they're running over. I'm telling you, it's a bizarre looking thing. You think, my God was really screwed up when he made that. You could think God, but I don't know what he was on, but he was really on some really far out stuff. So, it says, and everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of the calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass, and the hands of the man under their wings on the 4 sides, and they 4 had faces, and their wings were joined one to another, and they turned not when they went. They went everyone straight forward. I mean, I remember when we were little, we used to have these horse flies. Y'all know what a horse fly is, don't you? Yes. It's a regular fly about 10, 15 times bigger. And they sting you or bite you. But anyway, we had them because they were around the cattle and the horses all the time. And we would take those horse flies as little boys, and we would take a piece of broom straw and break a piece of that broom straw off straight, you know, but maybe 6 inches, and we would stick that broom straw up that big horsefly's butt and turn him loose, and he couldn't fly up, down, right, or left. He could just only fly straight. And so that was a game we did, and we would turn him loose and let him fly straight, and he would fly straight inside the barn. Boom. Was that cruel? That was just little boy stuff. Well, I mean, I read this and I'm thinking about these poor creatures. They can't go any other way but straight. And they're going to run into the wall if they can't go up or down or right or left. Hello. I mean, if we're going to try to take this literal, folks, we are in huge trouble. And I'm hoping you, as I'm reading, I'm hoping you're picturing right here. We're talking about the astrological wheel and how that it encompasses these 4 creatures. And they always, because listen, we always are going to come back to this number 4 because it's important in Genesis 2:4. In Genesis 2:4, it's incorporated through the word Lord. And through through the 4 Hebrew glyphs, Yod, He, Vav, He, that becomes predominant. 4 actually is a north, south, east, and west. It becomes the compass of the astrological wheel and the earth. And it becomes important. But if we can't see it, the picture trying to show us a spiritual truth, then we're going to try to make it literal, and you're going to have these cherubim flying straight into the wall because they can't turn. They're going to go straight. That's why I told you my little fly story.
Yeah, you put the 2 pictures together, you go.
So there you go. So they could only fly straight. The wings were joined, verse 9, the wings were joined, they turned not when they went everyone straight forward. Oh my.
And now I know why.
All right, verse 10.
You know more about the story, stick up your butt.
All right, verse 10 says, and for the likeness of their faces, they 4 had the face of a man. Look here, the face of the man is the astrological sign of Aquarius. What's the astrological sign of Aquarius? It's a man bearing a pitcher of water. And when you look at the astrological wheel, Aquarius always is a symbol of man. Okay? Well, what was the next one? It said the face of a man, and the next one was the face of what? Just right across from Aquarius is Leo. And Leo is the astrological symbol of the lion. And notice what's the next one? It says, and on the right side, they 4 had the face of an ox. And when you come on the other side right here, ox is a sign of Taurus. And it says, at the left side, and then the 4 had also the face of an eagle. And you come right down from, right across the board from Taurus to Scorpio, the eagle. Now here's another thing that most people don't have a clue. Now I could go to the book of Revelations, and we're going to wind up in the book of Revelations because the book of Revelations is full of this. Matter of fact, I'm glad they put the book of Revelations in because it ties a lot of these stories together in such a different and beautiful way. There's so many 7s in the book of Revelation, and they're all referring to this right here, which is you and me. The 7 yawns, the 7 endocrine glands, the 7 colors of the rainbow are the 7 facets of your being. It always comes back to that which is perfect and complete, which is you. You're the perfect and the complete tabernacle sanctuary God built to live in. God built to habitate. God built to be in it. And He knew what He was doing when He picked out everything and everybody to build it and to make it and to extract the truths out of it. So, these characters, the man, the ox, they are all represented under, again, this 4. They're all represented in the New Testament 4 Gospels. You know why there's 4 Gospels? I remember I used to ask a lot of times because there were so many choices that they had to come up with, like the Gospel of Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas was really a grapple between it and the Gospel of John. Both of them were esoteric. Both of them could not be taken literal, and they knew that. And so they almost inserted the Gospel of Thomas in place of the Gospel of John. Did y'all know that? Most people don't know that because they don't go back and just research and study. But when you go back and you look at these 4 Gospels, if you look at the Gospel and you study the Gospel of Matthew, it represents the King. That's what the theme of the Gospel of Matthew is. And who is the King? Is the lion. Isn't the lion called the King? So the Gospel of Matthew is about the astrological symbol of Leo, the King. And when you study it in light of that, then you go over to Matthew, to Mark, you look at the Gospel of Mark. The Gospel of Mark, it's about the servant. Everything in the Gospel of Mark is about servanthood. That's the theme of it. Do you know what the ox is? The ox is the servant to mankind. And then when you come over to the book of Mark, Luke, study the book of Luke, and you go through the book of Luke, and you'll find just exactly like in the book of Ezekiel, the theme of the book of Luke. And at the end of the book of Luke, he says, if you will go up in the upper room, and you will, from there, you will find a man with a pitcher of water. So the book of Luke is about man. I mean, these things are not done by accident. Every bit of this stuff is proportional size of looking at the picture, extracting from the picture the truth. Anybody can do it if we can learn the basic foundational truths, which are these that we've got scrambled up all over this board. If we can put these things in our mind and our thinking processes, then when we hit situations in life, choices in life, is this right? Is this wrong? Is this good? Is this bad? If you're choosing that choice because you think it's good, it might wind up being evil. But you may wind up learning from it more than you would if you'd made the other choice. You have to realize choices in life are opportunities to learn about life. Because life is a journey, and it's a journey that God sent you here to experience. Amen?
Amen.
And that's what it's all about, experiencing. So when you come to the book of John, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and if I went to the book of Revelation, we could say we just about covered the whole Bible this morning. The book of John is about the eagle. So everything in the Gospel of John has to do with the eagle. And when you begin to practice these things that I'm sharing with you, or trying to share with you, you begin to realize that what we are here to experience is the balance of these powers. The power that pulls me up and the power that pulls me down. The power of right or left. These powers are powers. They are abilities. They are things that will motivate you or tear you down. Nothing? Have you had thoughts that just pull you down into the gutter? Or you have thoughts that just lift you above the mountaintops? Yes, you do. We do. Many times they come in, many of them at one time, right? And sometimes they don't. So I want to take this and I want to squeeze it and work with it and talk about it a lot, so that I would like to try to extract from our thinking this book, this paragraph, that the creation legend, when understood correctly, is not about man being conceived in sin, but it's about man being conceived as the sanctuary, as the temple, as the house that God experiences its own creation through. And when we can start thinking of it that way, because if you think of yourself conceived in sin, I'm no good, I'm da-da-da-da-da, trying to work through all this stuff, and I sin a little here, and I sin a little there, and after all, I'm just an old sinner, you know. Get rid of that whole mindset, begin to realize, no, I am an experimental machine. And my whole purpose and process of being is to experience this marvelous heaven on earth God's created for He and me. So this creation legend, in its weird falsification, has stained the minds of humanity. We want to wash the stain away. And that's a part of what the mercy seat, you understand? Mercy. God is wanting mercy. God is offering mercy. God's not offering judgment. We've got to get rid of that judge in the sky that's really got his eyeball on you. You'll make him a list, checking it twice. See if you've been naughty or not. You've got to get rid of that whole concept in that eye and realize that God's looking at mercy, not judgment. God's not judging you for what you did do or didn't do. God's not trying to test you in that He's waving something bad or evil just to see if you'll do it. Just going to check and see if you're going to do that. No, God is experiencing through you And that's the way he's got everything built and designed, so. Anyway, I wanted to do that, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna wind up in the book of Revelation. We can't not, because the book of Revelation is a final thesis of this entire picture, and it's put together in such a phenomenal way. But it's all put together in types and shadows, pictures, metaphors, allegories, not literal, not something that's going to happen right now. You know, the mark of the beast or the whatever. Every now and then I'll get something where somebody, some traditional religious preacher or somebody's really making stuff out of where we're at right now, what's going on in our world. You know, you got COVID, we got all kinds of things. Is this God's judgment on mankind? Is this where we're going to take the mark of the beast and get vaccinated or not? So they really get some. And I've had plenty of times they do this constantly. It comes back around every 50 years or so. I can remember when Hal Lindsey wrote his book, Late Great Planet Earth. And in that book come out, I think back in the 60s or 70s. And I finally got to read it in the late 70s, early 80s. And at that time, his projection was that the end of the world would happen somewhere around, I think, in 84, 86. It'd all be over. Like great. And I guess that has probably found its place in the trash heap and fire heaps anymore. I don't guess nobody... I hope they had nobody read it or don't read it. It was really big back then. Back when I had my conversion experience in mid-70s, I can't remember, 75, 76, somewhere right along in there. God, that don't sound, but that's when it was.
Just a day or two ago.
That's been a few days ago, hadn't it? Nearly as many days ago as I am old. But anyway, that was a real popular book then. Hopefully it doesn't come back around. So, we're going to work with these things, and I believe it will be very interesting.